Hi, Julie here. Today I'm going to show you how to make this little paper bead Christmas ornament of a Christmas tree. And this ornament is made with cardstock that has been glazed 4 times with the PC petrifier and 1 time with the vibrance, so it's nice and shiny. It's also made with the shimmer fuzzy sticks that you can get at Walmart or any other craft store, just like that. It comes in a package of 12. And they're an iridescent type of chenille stem. And you can actually use any chenille stem that you want to, but this is what I had on hand. And let's get started. What you're going to need first is the template that I have available on my website at paperbeadcrafts.com in a new section that I'm going to be having called Patterns. But for now I'll just provide a link on the front page that links directly to this pattern. And what you're going to get, or the template, is something that you can print out on a piece of paper, like a reused copy paper, something like this. This is what it is, Paper Bead Christmas Tree Template, and it has 7 pieces that you're going to cut out. There's 2 small ones that are exactly the same size. They are the top and bottom of the ornament, the trunk and the very top, the bottom and the top. And then this one here, tree number 2, is, let's see. Actually, I did this backwards on the template. I'll fix it before I upload it. This is supposed to be number 2. It's 2 inches at one end and about 1 3/4 at the other end. And then this one here, which is going to be number 3, is 1 3/4 inch at the wide end and 1 1/2 inches at the narrow end. And then this third one here is 1 1/2 inches at the wide end and 1 1/4 inches at the narrow end. Then the next one that you put on the tree is 1 1/4 at the wide end and 1 inch at the narrow end. And then the one that's next to the top is going to be 1 inch at the wide end and 3/4 inch at the narrow end. Both of these, the one for the trunk and the very top, is 3/4 inch at the wide end and 1/2 inch at the narrow end. Now, the reason why they're spaced the way they are on this template, they're actually evenly spaced apart so that you can make beads out of these. They're about 1/2 inch on the wide end and 3/16 at the narrow end, except for this last one here over here. I just put that line in there just so you'll have that extra bead. And this here is basically waste, but you can make a bead out of that as well. And this one here on the very end is, you could actually roll that one up too if you wanted to. And that's basically the template. And this is the way I would actually go ahead and get ready to cut these, is I would layer this on top of my paper. I can probably do 3 thicknesses of cardstock on my guillotine cutter, but today I'm only going to do 2. And so this is the way I would clip them together to get them ready to cut. Okay, clip them at the top just like this. And there's the third one. And that's what I would do to cut them. Okay, now that I have all my strips cut, these are the little scrap ones that were between the big pieces for the actual tree. So I'm going to roll those up later. Maybe I'll make a garland or something very Christmassy. And I have some white strips that I can use for the waist beads. So I'll set those aside. And these are the pieces that I cut for the Christmas tree. Okay. And just putting them in order just to show you how I cut them apart. Let's see. Okay, and this one top, and this one the bottom. Okay, so they're all cut apart. And one thing, a tip that I can give you about cutting them apart with the way I did with the guillotine cutter is I put my clips on the very end. And I actually was able to completely cut them without moving the clips. Just make sure that the clips are on the small end, actually on the big end, and work from the small end to the big end, and then just move the clips from one side to the other on the very last strip. That's what I actually had to do. And so that's that, and I'm going to get started rolling these. And I like to start with the top and the bottom, and this time I'm going to make a green one instead of a red. Well, I'll go ahead and I'll make a red one, another red one. I'll make the green later. So set those aside. I'm going to keep my labels with them so I know where I'm at. Okay. Red one, red one, red one. Okay, right there. Put that one away. Okay. Red one. And yeah, I'll fix the numbers. I'm kind of silly. I put them on backwards. How about that? Yeah. Anyway, so I'm getting these taken care of. You're going to start with the bottom and work your way up. Actually, it doesn't matter what order you roll them in, but it will matter when it comes time to actually put together the tree. Okay. One more. Okay, so let's see how to roll them up. And I'm going to stack these over here just to get them out of the way. Actually, I'm going to start with the big one, show you how to use the long paper bead roller that I have, and we'll do one of the short ones. Because the short ones, you can use the short paper bead roller. These are what you're going to need. I offer the split pin long 3/16 inch paper bead roller. This is 2 3/4 inches long, and that's great for doing up to 2.5 to 2 3/4 inch long paper beads. And then this one here is also a split pin, but it's only 1 1/4 inches. That's great for doing the shorter ones. It actually is easier to use the short one when you're making smaller beads. And then you have the slotted one, which is also easy to use. It's just a matter of preference and choice of which one you want to use. It doesn't really matter which one you use. And today I'm going to go ahead and use my split pin. And let me get my glue here. Regular old Elmer's glue is strong enough to work. Aleene's tacky glue will work too. And look at the hair. Okay. Yeah, this gets used a lot. My cats are not allowed in here, but once in a while they get snuck in, or I have cat hair on my clothing. I have 4 cats, and that's another story. Okay, so if you have a hard time getting your glue cap to get loosened, I use one of these non-skid pads and open it. Just makes it a lot easier. Just a little tip. Okay, so put glue in there. Don't need a whole lot. And I'm going to close that up. Okay, set that aside and get started. Let's do the big one. Okay, so what you're going to do is you have a wide end and you have a narrow end. And double check to make sure that you have the wide end. Work with the wide end first, of course. You slide that in there. And I always kind of jimmy it up, push it up. Make sure it's in there so that you can barely see it. These long ones can be tricky to use at first, but they do work. Okay, and then just roll it. And try to keep it centered as you roll. And if you have to, every once in a while, just kind of loosen it up and keep working with it to make it centered. Take your time, because you want an even roll. And these are really, really hard to adjust when you pull them off the paper bead rollers. That's why you want to do that. Just kind of loosen it and then wind again. And you're going to want to leave a space about 3/4 to an inch at the end and completely cover that with glue. But not so much that it seeps through. You just want a thin coat. To me, glue stick would not be strong enough to hold this. And you want to completely cover this. And try not to get the glue on the outside of your bead, because the PC petrifier will make it look splotchy and it won't look very attractive. Okay, so almost there. Hopefully I don't have too much on there, but I do have hopefully enough to hold it. Okay. And then you just hold it for a few seconds. See, I got a little bit coming out. Try to clean it off best you can. Okay. Alright, so that should do it. And then to loosen it and pull it off, just twist back a little bit and it comes right out. Okay, so there's your first one. Let's do the short one here that I got started using this paper bead roller. Same thing, make sure you start at the wide end, not the narrow end. And slide that in there just like you did before. Pull it up so that you can't see it. Just like that. Okay, and then you're going to start rolling. And again, keep it separate. I mean, keep it centered, not separate. Centered. That's the word. Okay. Keep rolling, keep rolling. If you're going off kilter a little bit, just loosen and then tighten again. Adjusting as you go. Okay, almost done with this one. I'm not going to roll all of these for time. I have some prepared ahead of time so you can see them all. And go ahead and put the glue on. And if you've seen my glazing beads video, then you'll know how to glaze these. Just basically do it the same way. 4 coats of PC petrifier, 1 coat of vibrance, and I would let them dry, you know, a few hours. Well, the first coat I let to about 6 hours, 6 to 8. If I'm doing it late at night, I don't worry about it. I just let it sit overnight and it's fine. Then the rest of the coats can be an hour or 2 between each coat. And the vibrance, you can work with it about an hour after you're done. The instructions on the bottle actually say, you know, 15 to 30 minutes. But with me, I let it go an hour. Okay, so that's the end of that one. Now, if you see with these beads here, there's a little bit of a end here that you can see in the middle. So what I do is I take a smaller paper bead roller, or in this case, a size 3 knitting needle. And I stick that inside, and I roll it on my finger to clean it up. And you can push these a little bit. They're not that easy to do, or they're, you know, not that bad. But you're going to want to roll this on your finger kind of hard. It can take abuse because you want to clean up that inside, and that's what that ends up looking like. And you can do the same thing with the big long one, because you got the same problem. And stick that in there and roll it. I like to use a knitting needle size 3 on these 3/16 because it fits for one thing, and it just does a pretty good job actually. And turn it around if you don't have the whole thing. Okay, so that's cleaned up on the inside. And so we're going to go on to the next part, which is I'm going to show you the rest of these pieces. They're all ready to be glazed. And watch my video on how to string these so that they can be glazed. And once they're glazed, they're going to look like this. Alright, so here's the little one. Move these aside. Okay, here's the little one, which is the trunk. And then you have the next one. I'm going to use this non-skid stuff underneath it so they won't be rolling around on me. Okay, so here's the trunk. Here's the next one. And here's the next one. Just arrange them according to size. You don't even need your guide anymore at this point. You can eyeball it so you can see that they're getting smaller and smaller as you go up. Okay. And if you notice on these, you're going to have a seam on the bottom. So when you go ahead and use the chenille stems, you want to make sure that the seam is on the bottom of all of them. So that way they'll be hidden by the beads themselves, and they'll be hidden by the chenille stem on the bottom here. Okay, so let's get assembling this little Christmas tree that we've got ready to go here. Okay, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to take one of your fuzzy sticks. Actually, you're going to need 3 of them for each Christmas tree. I tried using just 2 and it just does not work. So use 3 of them, and you're going to twist the ends together to form one long tree. And about a 1/2 inch is all you really need to twist. And twist, twist, twist until it's just about the same thickness as the rest of it. You basically want to end up with a very long, 3 foot long or so chenille stem, and you don't want them to come apart. Okay, so let's do the second one here. And I've tried this twice, so this is not trial and error. This actually is going to work for me. Okay, and you're going to start at the bottom and you're going to work your way to the top. Let's put that over there so you can just look at it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put this through here, and you're going to find the almost center. Doesn't actually have to be centered, not at this point. Okay, I'm going to center it just because I want to. Okay, at this point you're going to, actually the reason why you want it to be off center a little bit is the long end you're going to pass through the other side. That's why it needed to be off center. And just hold on to it and pull, hold on to it and pull. And you want to make sure that you end up center. Get it as close to center as possible. And tighten it. And tighten it so that the seam is covered the best you can. There we go. Okay, so that's the bottom. That's this part right here. Okay, bend this up just to prepare it for the next step. Stop rolling around on me. Okay, so this is the next step. You're going to work on putting this bead on. So you pick up one end and you pass it through. And you don't want it to go completely all the way, because if you notice, you've got a little bit of space right here. So it looks to be slightly more than a 1/2 inch. So you want to be about slightly more than a 1/2 inch away. Just about like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it so that your seam is facing up, right in line with the fuzzy stick. That's what they call it, fuzzy stick. And then you're going to turn it over like this. And you're going to make sure that it is centered over the bottom bead. This is the hardest part, getting it started. Once you get past this first couple of steps, it'll go fairly quickly. Okay, so you're going to take the second end and you're going to pass it through to the other side. And you want to hang on for dear life for this. Okay. Now, sometimes you're going to have a hard time getting this other piece to go through if it's not twisted completely tightly. But it does work. Okay, so there's the bottom. And again, you're going to try to turn that seam to the bottom so it can't be seen. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so You're going to repeat that with the next one. You're going to pass this through. Alright, and go ahead at this point, hold the bead against the first, you know, the wide bead here. Just hold it in place and pull. And again, once you get through these twisted sections, it's going to go easier. Okay, pull, 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 tighten it, pull. Okay, and then you're going to take the other end and you're going to pass it back through. And you're going to have a twisted section, so be careful with that. In fact, you can push it through and then help pull. And pull on the other side because it worked its way out. And that didn't happen to me before. Okay, what you're going to want to do at this point, just go ahead and pull that out and you're going to retwist it. Believe me, this does actually work. I've done it. See, I've done it. Okay. Getting past this point, once you're past this point, you won't have to worry about this twisted stuff anymore. Okay, let's get that back through there. It's not perfect, but it works. Now, if anyone can find 3-foot long chenille stems or chenille stem on a roll, that would be ideal. Okay, let's try pulling that through again. Yeah, it's having a hard time. Okay. Well, I'm going to trim off a little bit because I'm having a hard time. Because it got bunched up on me. I'm going to try twisting again. One of these days I plan on doing a craft room tour and an office tour, and you're going to see that the work surface that I'm working on is actually my jewelry making desk. It actually has a drawer underneath it with all my tools. That's why I seem to always have them with me, because they're right underneath where I'm working. Okay, let's get this through. Alright, let's get you pushed in there. Alright, now, come on, get back in there. That's frustrating. It does work. It worked before. Alright, so I'm going to continue on. Go through the next one. Same thing. And pass the other one through. Tighten that up a little bit. Now I would really yank on this if I didn't know that it was a little loose. But right now we're all set. Okay, continue on. And get that through. Going with my next smaller piece. Okay. Making sure that my seam side is down again. Got to remember to pay attention to that. Okay, pass this one through. Okay, tighten that up. Look at that. Told you, once we get back past that point, it's easy going. Okay, next smaller one. Put that through, seam side down. Okay, pass this one through, just like that. Okay, and then the last one. Okay, seam side down, and pass this one back through. Okay, so we got all that done. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how did I do the loop? Well, this is what I did. So I went ahead and I put these two together like this and started twisting. And you're going to twist for about 1.25 inches till they're all together, because you're going to make the loop. And you're going to have 2 ends left over, and that's about long enough, maybe a little bit longer. Okay, so you're about that long, that's 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and you're going to take a pencil and you're going to use the pencil or the handle of your paper bead roller. That will work better actually, and just roll it around, because you want to be at least there. Okay, or your finger, you can use your finger too. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that these 2 end pieces are separated, and you're going to put them around the base of where they start twisting, just like this. And you're going to wrap each side around this base, just like this. And you're going to wrap it and wrap it and wrap it until it's all used up. Okay, and then the other one goes the other way, the opposite direction. Just wrap it, wrap it, wrap it. Try to work in your raw ends. You want to use up the chenille stem so there's no waste. And just keep on going, keep on going. And that one is a little cockeyed, but it's done. And it's only cockeyed because of that problem I had down here at the bottom. But the first one is always perfect, and it's really, really tight and very good. This one's not so bad. This one I'll probably keep for my own Christmas tree. But I am planning on selling these at our local craft fair. And you can do the same thing too. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to make them and sell them, probably $1 or $2. But I'm thinking I'm going to work a little bit more on that one and put a dab of glue at the end, and it'll be fine. Okay, so that's the way you put together those Christmas trees. And if you want the pattern, just go to the website paperbeadcrafts.com and look for the link. And I'll provide the link down in the description so you can go get it yourself. And that's it. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.